ways.
It is, right?
Yeah, so none of it really matters. You just got to love what you do and do it for the right reasons because the end result is completely outside of your control.
So, okay, so you're doing that 70s show. You're doing these other weird movies as a kid.
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't know. Now, I had
many gadgets over here, Mark. I feel like I just want to touch everything.
It's okay. Some people do it. So
Why do you have
your
a
friend
knife
Jennifer Lawrence touched everything.
Well, that's because it makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I have the knife. Some people gravitate towards the knife
and a hammer. Is that like
that's
just...
like a half? You're the second person that knows. Back in my other space, it was so cluttered. The things didn't stand out as much as they do here.
This is like.
And it's like it's a half a hammer. It's a broken hammer.
There's a really great docuseries that I'm watching on Netflix. I'm not even promoting it, but it just the hammer for some reason reminded me of it. It's called Drug Lords, and it's all about like the big drug lords in the world.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's great. So there's 2 seasons, 4 episodes per season. It's not that much to watch, and so it's 8 episodes total. And you have your like El Chapo, which everybody kind of knows about, and you have all that. But then, like, you'll have these random women that I've never heard about, which I always thought was really fascinating. Like the Queen of Crack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I was like, who's this Queen of Crack? And it's out of Los Angeles, and there's this woman that, was...
Crack lord?
Yeah.
Wow. She was crack duchess?
Yeah. It's really cool. So anyways, the hammer reminds me of it because I feel like all the drug lords at one point beat someone with their hammer.
There's a rite of passage.
I feel like it's very violent.
So I talked to Macaulay Culkin.
Did he come on your show?
At the old place.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. It's sort of interesting because you guys dated for a while.
Yeah.
Because he will not say your name now.
Yeah.
He'll just say it's somebody, some woman.
I know.
He's protecting you now somehow.
Yeah, it's very nice of him. Yeah.
But you'll say who it was. You'll say yours.
I'll just do what he said. It's somebody who was back then.
But how long did you go out with that guy?
7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And you guys still friends?
Probably not as friendly as we could be. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Too weird?
Yeah, there's just too many aspects of it that I'm sure that just prevented us from ever moving forward past.
Well, how old were you? Because he was huge and you were sort of like, you were kind of like...
we dated from when I was like 18, 19 till 25-ish.
And you didn't want to get married or anything?
No, I never believed in the concept of marriage and the institution of marriage until...
You want to have kids?
Until I decided to have children. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Culkin thing was like, that must have been a lot because like that, to be with somebody who is that kind of actor with that kind of family, I can't imagine, at 18 having to deal with that stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, yes and no.
Yeah. His brother's doing a good job on that show.
I haven't seen it yet.
On
but
Succession?
Yeah.
Did you know his brother too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everybody knew each other?
Yeah. I mean, you date one person, you date the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to get out of that. There's nothing I really need to know, but I just thought it was interesting when I talked to him that, he's still kind of protective of the whole thing and it's so many years later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
'Cause he's very private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got podcasts now. I found it difficult when I was talking to him because, he's private, but he's a charmer, he kind of performs and you have to figure out where you're going to get just a little kernel of something personal. It doesn't just come out.
Do you find that to be true for most people or no?
Well, it just depends what people want to talk about and where you want to go. I mean, it feels to me that if somebody has something, like if it happens organically, it'll happen, but you can't. But he's so scrutinized for so long, for his whole life, and he was so young that his habit is to protect himself.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
But you don't feel that. Do you feel that for yourself, having been started that long ago as a kid?
I don't have to deal. I didn't deal with what he had to deal with.
Right.
So it's very different.
Being
honestly.
A huge.
At such a young age. There's so many aspects of it that I think that, you preserve your privacy as much as you can. And having children, I can understand that now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you don't get, like, a lot of flack, do you, anymore?
Flack meaning?
I mean, like the Mike Pence thing, but, there's not, you don't... Yeah.
No, but no, not nearly. But I never really got flack. I just get followed by paparazzi a lot. But not flack.
Why do they choose you?
2 actors together.
Oh, so it's a freak show. To them.
Yeah. I think that if I was to be with like an engineer or, whatever, like a money guy, I think.
Yeah. And also, right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the big turning point for you in terms of like, was Sarah Marshall a big turning point for you?
Yeah.
Because it was the shift to movies?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were good in that.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. That was almost really believable.
What are you talking about? I like that movie. I like Jason. I like Kristen.
Yeah.
The shift to films, though, that was exciting.
Well, it was a so here's what happened. So
Yeah.
70 show was ending, and then I had to make a decision.
Right.
Do I go to college and do something with my life, or do I start taking acting seriously?
So that was it really was a hobby in your mind.
And I'm not kidding you. It really
Yeah.
was a hobby. Well, it was like, I do this while I also go to
Yeah.
school. If I didn't look at it as a hobby, I don't know if I would have gone through the public school system of Los Angeles. Like, I
Right.
think I would have just legally emancipated myself and called it a day and done a career at 16.
Right.
So I asked my parents for permission.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, look, can I defer from school? I'll go back. I promise you I'll go back. Can I just defer and give this a shot? And I was at LMU at the time. And I didn't even go a day to LMU. But I was like, okay.
What's LMU?
Loyola Marymount.
Oh, yeah.
And my parents were like, okay, well, if you're going to make this a career, then you got to start taking this seriously.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Exactly. And I was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't know what that meant. And so I was like, I got this. And then 15 years ago, it was a little bit of a different industry. It was like if you came out of television, then you were stuck in the television bubble. And if you came out of film,
Right.
you weren't going back to TV.
Right.
And so
Both of those things have changed.
everything's changed.
Yeah.
So at 20, I was like, you know what? I want to do something different.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you should do television. And I was like, I don't want to do television. 70s is ending. I want to try something different.
Yeah.
And so I can honestly say I had no ego, and I auditioned for everybody and everything. And I didn't really care what I was auditioning for.
Right.
And I met with Judd at the time earlier for a different movie. I didn't end up getting that movie, but I had a lot of time, like a lot of fun riffing with Seth Rogen at the time.
Right.
It was for a different film.
Yeah. For which movie?
For
Not the 40-year-old virgin.
No,
The Knocked Up. Yeah.
So when I met with, by the way, this is something that like I think they can attest to better than I can. But I met for it, didn't ultimately end up getting it, but had the best time riffing with Rogen.
Yeah.
Like a year later, like less than, he was like, hey, I'm doing this table read. Will you come in and do a favor and do this table read? It's for a movie called blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So cause sometimes you just do table reads for people. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
So I went and did the table
right.
read. A very different group of people were at the table read.
It's for Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
For Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of different people. The only person that was consistent was Siegel.
Right.
So we did the table read, cut to 7 months later, they greenlight the film. And I think that they must have gone through other actors. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Ultimately came back to me and they were like, hey, would you want to be a part of this? And I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, it was like Judd Apatow and the height of Judd Apatow.
Right.